Panic Room is a film directed by David Fincher, it is written by David Coep, and it stars Jodie Foster, Kristen Stewart, Forest Whitaker, Jared Leto and Dwight Yoakam. It follows the story of a woman played by Jodie Foster and her daughter who are moving into a new house. Basically the woman has split up with her husband, he's had an affair, and yeah, the two of them are now forced to kind of go and live, thanks to the money that she's got from him in the divorce, in this huge house that happens to have a panic room. It just so happens that on the first night of them moving in, three guys break in to try and steal some money that is apparently left buried inside a safe within the panic room. The woman and the daughter lock themselves in this panic room, and then the rest of the film essentially is about the three guys trying to get them out, get to the money, and encountering more than a fair share of problems in doing so. Now, among the work of David Fincher, Panic Room probably is considered to be one of his lesser works, shall we say. I gotta say, as a director myself, I think if anybody considered this film to be one of my lesser works, I'd be a very happy bunny. I do like movies that kind of take place mostly in one location. I think it's always interesting to see how a director is going to make that work visually, to make it feel cinematic. And if there's one thing that Fincher's very good at, it is precisely that. You know, we're basically trapped in this one location, this house, for most of the film. It's, yeah, pretty much all of the film except for a couple of bookend scenes at either end, and yet it does feel very cinematic, and that's because of the way that Fincher uses the camera. He glides in and out of rooms. At one point when the burglars are getting in, these guys are breaking into the house, the camera basically goes on this really long tracking shot and it zips in and out of rooms, it goes through floors, and we see them kind of get into different floors, breaking in at different entrance points. And yeah, just doing that, besides being pretty showy, pretty flashy camera techniques, it does give you a sense of geography and scale. The house, as a result, kind of becomes a character within itself, the environment, obviously. And it's actually quite a creepy house, it must be said. I think this film, the way it's shot even, would work very well as some kind of haunted house movie, the location of it. Yeah, it definitely swallows up this woman and her daughter. They look quite lost in it, which is kind of the point, I think, you know, given that she's come out of this marriage and that's literally the position she's in right now. She feels lost, and the house kind of symbolises that. We've got two women here who at first may appear weak, especially compared to these three guys who are breaking in, but at every turn Meg, this character played by Foster, outwits them, outsmarts them, outplays them. You know, whenever it looks like they're going to get in, whatever method they're using, she somehow manages to turn against them. She's not afraid of getting her hands dirty, and she kind of, yeah, she leaves Jared Leto's character in a bit of a bad position, a bit of bad condition, it must be said, kind of taking half his arm off, burning his skin quite considerably. And she does, there's one scene that's rather crunching, always makes me go ooh, when she, yeah, smacks Dwight Yoakam's character in the face with a sledgehammer. Because of that, it's almost a shame that right at the end of the film, she doesn't really get to take out this Dwight Yoakam character. So he just, yeah, he doesn't stop at all. You know, despite being knocked in the face with a sledgehammer, kind of falling down a flight of stairs, he still makes his way up and has a bit of a struggle with Meg. So it's a bit of a shame that she isn't really the one who ends up taking him out. In fact, he gets the upper hand on her by the end. It doesn't diminish what she's achieved throughout this film and what she's done, and at the end of the day she's pretty hard as nails. She's gone up against him, but yeah, I don't know, I just feel like it's a shame that she doesn't truly win at the end without the aid of Forest Whitaker's character. Foster gives a really great performance. Really kind of like this relationship between her and the daughter. There's a few moments in it when, like one moment in particular which is quite amusing, when they first get in the panic room and she uses this kind of tannoy thing. It speaks out but you can't speak in, and she's speaking out to these guys, basically telling them to leave the house, and the daughter kind of says, you know, say the F word at them as well, and she just randomly throws it in. and not realising that she meant within the context of the sentence she was saying. It's quite a funny moment, but it's also like you can see how the daughter is almost teaching her mum how to be a badass. The two of them rub off on each other. There are a few cliches in the film that we kind of see time and time again. You know, like in this one, the daughter, she has, I think it's asthma or something. I'm not entirely sure. No, insulin. So she's diabetic. Yeah, so she needs this insulin. You know, that's kind of a tried and tested thing when you need to kind of up the ante a bit, kind of create more tension. But I get it. You've got to do these things, you know, when you confine to one location, you got to find ways to make things happen, to root for these characters, to give them obstacles that they've got to get over. So yeah, it works here, and Kristen Stewart gives a good performance. It was the first film I ever saw her in, and she does kind of have a bit of a young Jodie Foster vibe here. She definitely sets herself up for the future to become you know, a great actress, and that may still happen, I think. I just think Twilight obviously came after this and unfortunately did a lot of damage with regards to the respect people give her. I have seen her in a few roles after this, you know, since Twilight, where actually, you know, she has proven herself to be a pretty good actress. But yeah, the stink of that franchise, it's something to overcome, isn't it? Three bad guys as well are pretty good here. Forrest Whitaker gets to play the one with the heart. You know, he's trying to get this money for what we assume is you know, noble purposes. It sounds like there's some kind of family thing going on that he needs the money for. We never truly get told what that is, but you get the sense that deep down he's a decent man and he didn't want to do this job. You know, if there was people there, he went into it assuming that there was no one in the house. And then we get the Jared Leto character, who's like basically an idiot. He's a rich kid, you know, he's a rich man's kid. He stands to inherit a fortune, but he's greedy, so he wants more. And yeah, he's an idiot. He goes in thinking he's the big man on campus, thinking he has all the plans and the brains, and he just really doesn't. And he proves himself at every turn not to. I like Leto here as this character. I like his performance. But the one that is really sinister is Dwight Yoakam, who for most of the film is masked. He's actually the only one who has enough intelligence to come wearing a mask. You know, that's one of my criticisms of the film, I guess, is that even though these two guys, the Leto and Whitaker characters, turn up expecting there to be no one there, I still think they take too many chances. You know, I think, yeah, sticking a balaclava on would be the sensible option, just on the off chance that, you know, they get caught on camera or whatever. It just seems like they go in there. And considering, you know, I could buy it with the Leto character, but not the Whitaker character, because he's an intelligent guy. You know, he's the one who designed this panic room, so that stinks a little bit, I think. There is also another moment where when Foster's character comes out of the room and then they end up getting trapped in there with her daughter, she goes around and she smashes all the cameras. And the Yoakam character, you know, he says, why didn't we do that? Why didn't we think to do that? And yeah, you do kind of have to ask yourself, why didn't they think of that? Other than those criticisms, though, the rest of the film is just, it's a great exercise in tension. It doesn't overstay its welcome either. You know, I mean, it is an hour and 47 minutes, but it doesn't even feel like that. It feels like a good solid 90-minute movie. I do kind of want more in many ways. The film does leave me wanting more, not in a bad way, like, you know, I feel like it's missing scenes or whatever, but just that I enjoyed the ride and I was happy to stay on it for as long as possible. It's just a really good film about well, two women, but one in particular learning to stand on her own feet, you know, coming out of this marriage, kind of having a life shaken really, and then having it shaken again when these guys break in, but then proving herself to be quite formidable and able to stand up on her own and, yeah, solve problems and go up against these three guys. So, yeah, very good film. I'll give it a 4 out of 5. Like I say, you know, I think by most directors' standards, this is A-game stuff. It's only because of what else we've got on Fincher's CV that, yeah, this can be considered a lesser work. But yeah, 4 out of 5 from me. Very solid stuff indeed. But what about you? Have you seen Panic Room, and how do you think it compares to not only Fincher's own work, but other kind of single location type movies? For me, this is one of the better ones, it must be said. So let me know, comment down below, and until next time, cracking.